at very early age, give your life to Christ. The decision to give your life to Christ at early age is one of the best decisions as a young person or as any person you can ever make. Nobody would want to invest into a rotten tomato. They also want to invest into the fresh ones because they know when they send it to the market. If God is not a scammer, or God is not somebody who wants your money, no. Alright, so my name is Tetteh and I'm from Ada.
How would you describe yourself to someone who has never met you?
Alright, so first I'm going to say I'm a photographer, a content creator, and a graphic designer. So I'm a creative and also a believer. We have a believer and a Christian, like, so we don't just do church, we don't just play church, but we actually walk the walk of Christ. So that's what we do.
What does a normal day in your life looks like?
Normal day, normal day in my life looks like editing, going to church. That's it.
What was your life like before everything changed?
A very long story, but I'll try and cut it short. Back then, I think some years back, before finding myself here, I've never thought of being a photographer or being a creative. Just wanted to be a teacher. So I think after some years back, we found myself in the midst of young guys who we didn't know what we wanted to do. So we were just playing along. And life took us through a lot. We've partied, hosted, like, did a lot of things. Well, I cannot mention them, but if time permits, I can mention them. We did a lot of things, and as times goes on, life gave us lessons that today we are grateful for. We went through a lot of things. Found myself smoking. Like, I dated one girl who gave me some broken hearts, and then after then it misled me to some part. I didn't find myself to be smoking. I did dreadlocks and all stuff. And God being good, I gave my life to Christ. Somewhere 2017, yeah.
So what's like one activity that back in the day you can tell us? Because we have all the time. So what's like that one activity that you can go into it a bit and tell us about that, like what you did in them?
Okay, so one thing I did, that's back then I out of the pain of the broken heart I went through, as a young guy I wanted to prove myself to get money. So I met this one guy, self-acclaimed malam. He said he would help me double money, and we negotiated. So back then, I think one of the things I normally do is that because I was not doing anything, I dropped out from school and I was home. What I was doing was that we want to buy an iPhone. I have dealers and I negotiate and everything. So one of my guys told him about me and wanted to buy a phone. So I think I was home and the guy came. The guy said he wanted to buy a phone. When I got there, we were talking about the phone and everything. And he saw my phone. Back then I was using an iPhone 6S. I think, yeah, JV Log or something like that. And he said he would take that phone to use that money to actually help me get the money I want. I was like, are you sure? I said, yeah. It's okay. If that's true, then I'm in for it. Because he said you need about 1,000 cedis. So actually looking at the phone, letting it go, I'm ready for what money will come after. We did it, and first time he gave me time to come and everything. I went there the time he gave me, and after, I think one thing happened. He gave me some oil in a bottle, small bottle. If I still smell the scent, I can know the oil. He asked me to dig grounds and put the oil in it. He gave me time. These things when you actually want it. You actually giving your all. So I didn't sleep. I stayed up. I waited for the time. I even went outside before the time. I started digging immediately. The time, like I think it gave me about like, is it 12 a.m. I believe. I remember. I dig the ground, brought out the oil. Mind you, the oil was sealed. When I brought out the oil, the oil had dropped. Actually, this thing, something there inside. I did what he instructed me to do. But what I believe is that because he know what he did or what will happen. When I went, he asked me why has the oil dropped. I was like, I explained it to him. So I know you have to do it again. I have to pay another 1,500 cedis. It's like, no, I can't get that money. So he lured me to get other people to borrow me money. And then it will. Long story short, the second one to involve my senior brother, it didn't work. I have to bring my senior brother's phone to sell and it didn't work. And I went there the second time. The third time, I told you the thing that happened. And then, so mind you, the second one, the oil dropped again with the same instruction. When we went there, he said the oil had dropped again. But this time around, what we are going to do is that the gods are angry. The gods are angry. So we are going to buy some things like to I was like, to compensate the gods. I was like, how, really? He listed the things. This one it will happen. And we actually didn't do it at that time. But then after that whole thing, before we started everything, I made a vow. They have those things in there. So you make a vow. If anything goes south and what. Because they definitely know it will not happen. So it did happen and then we went back. So now I have to start telling people. So it started affecting me. It started making me do stuff I was not like I didn't want to do. And mind you, they always have this thing they say no one goes into a shrine and come back the same. It's not a story. These things are real because anytime you encounter spirits, there is a way they have an effect on you. So came back. It was what led me into smoking, like womanizing. I think I had dreadlocks. I nearly went mad. Because one day we mixed things up. No boys, we mixed things up and smoked a lot. And the day I came home, if not for my father, I would have been out of town. So my dad was in the house. I slept very early that very day. And I was actually lying down and all of a sudden I woke up, taking off my clothes and everything. And my dad held me down. And that was the very day I was like, they have to bring me to my pastor's house to pray for me. And that was how I gave my life to Christ. Yeah.
Back then, what was your hopes or your plans? What was it like? What was it like back then?
Okay, so back then, when I was in my primary level to JHS, I had the intention of being a teacher, a people's teacher. So I remember schools I wanted to even go was Chemu Senior High, Olams, and I think Temasco. That was the schools I intended to choose. So I wanted to be a people's teacher until before I will go to SHS. Let me say, at my JHS level, we encountered one past student of the school who was advising us not to go into a government work and all that. We should get our own job. And I diverted choosing Tetteh, wanting to do BC, yeah, building construction. Yeah, so my dream was to be a people's teacher.
Can you remember the exact moment that changed things for you? Like the exact moment?
I remember. It was around somewhere July. In 2018. Before I turned 18 years. Okay, I think I turned 18 years by then. I had somewhere July. I remember about that encounter and I was sleeping and the thing dawned on me. And I woke up and I was running. I remember vividly, it was one evening when my parents escorted me to this same house and I met my spiritual father, Reverend Collins Nankamafio. and he prayed for me. And from then everything changed.
How were you feeling like that day?
When I say people don't understand, people don't. I know a lot of people have had the encounter before. It was later after I got to know it was something that normally happen when you get overdose. And my experience was very different. That night, I remember saying a lot of things. I remember like I remember some few things, but I don't remember everything. I remember mentioning to my mom that I had a friend called Bright. He's still my friend. He's outside the country now. And so back then, among the guys we were working with, it was one of the odd one out. Because we used to separate from the guys and go and smoke. And he was against it. So we saw him to be the one to be the intruder. So he was like the best advisor in our midst. So when that encounter happened, I told my mom I should have listened to Bright's advice. And I remember the second thing I told my mom was that I wanted to be a man of God. And the other thing was I remember that night after that encounter, there was this one song from this Nigerian artist, Prosper. It was on a period that song, Kweku Geress. I will play that song. Back then, mind you, me I know they play them songs. I used to play Minyanka Meshe, Yapuno. Yeah, so I used to play those songs. And my dad didn't like it. But after that encounter that evening, that was the song I slept with. Because it gave me some level of peace in my spirit. And I remember I'll go among my friends and I will try and preach to them. And some labeled me as a madman. Because after that encounter, I started carrying Bible and all. And I remember one time here there was one ghetto we used to play card. And I was home and the thing was hunting me. Go and preach to your friends. Man. It's like these guys do not listen to me because they know me. But I went there and one of my guys told me, and I remember this thing vividly. He said it plainly. He said the way I'm doing, his mother has told him that it looked like I'm running mad and I'm going mad. So they have to check me very well. So it broke me because I asked myself if I was really going mad. But within me, I knew it was not just the normal overdose guys talks about. Because mind you, I have people who have had that encounter several times. And they see it to be a normal thing. So, and that's what people take red and be like, they are those, But mine was a bit different from the other guys.
So at that point, did you realize life would not be the same?
Oh yes. Like I said, I noticed a change. Let me take you to scripture a little bit. There was a guy in the Bible called Saul. Saul was somebody who didn't believe Christ. Even though he believed in God, he didn't believe Christ. But then, he had an encounter with God, where the Bible said he was on his way to Damascus to persecute the church. But then, on his way, a light came from heaven. It was just the same encounter I had. From that day, I had the dreadlocks on. And after, my mom, a lot of people have spoken about it. When a guy has a dreadlocks, I didn't see it that way. But then, after that encounter, the following morning, mind you, my senior brother is a barber. So that morning, I went to him. I told my mom to give me money to go to the barber shop. I went to him and I was like, Charlie Jimo in trap. And he was like, so the normal way, he would just feed the under. I was like, oh no, cut everything down. And mind you, I felt restless within me. It was like there was something I was supposed to do that I was not doing. And when I went there, by then the boss he was working with was, a believer that I known. So I told him to pray for me. And the man poured anointing oil on my head, prayed for me. And when he finished, my senior brother, when he was cutting my hair down, one question was he was asking was, "Are you sure? Are you sure about this thing?" Like, let's do it. And that day, I knew personally that something had touched me.
So after that day, what was the hardest part after that moment?
The hardest part, I would say,
The hardest one.
the hardest part I took after that journey was to separate myself from my people, my friends, my old friends. Not to label them as bad people. And these guys have been, and now they still contribute to my growth. Like I still relate with them one way or the other. But then I noticed God was doing something with me. So sometimes God will take you out of the father's house, like He did to Abraham, and prepare you. So after He had done preparing you, He will bring you back to your father's house. Not because God hates your father, but I want to do something with you that when you are in your father's house, it will still affect you. So He will take you out. When He's done with you, He will bring you back. Then you start, because when you come back, then you cannot be influenced again. So I remember vividly, after that encounter, I separated myself from them a little bit for years. And I had to create a new family, a new society. And after I realized that now I can be with them. Today I can still see them, I can still sit among them, we can still vibe. And we have each other's contacts. Because these guys, I would say, like I said, they contribute to my growth. And one way or the other, I still need them sometime. I can call them like, Charlie, I need this. And that's one of the hardest decisions I made after that encounter.
Was there a time you felt like giving up?
Oh yes, so many times. So many times. This journey as a believer is not easy. Like, to be honest, you have to cut a lot of things out. And cutting a lot of things out, mind you, sometimes it can affect your parents. Well, there was this one time, my own mom wanted me to be a believer, and after some time, it looked like I was becoming a distraction. So she started ranting in the house, and I have to leave the house to come and stay in my pastor's house. So many times, I sometimes, in a way of disrespect my mom, like, you cannot do this. A lot of times, so many times, I tried giving up, but that's the hardest way to choose. So you have to stay on it.
How did it affect your relationships or self-confidence?
When you start with some people, and at some point you divert, you choose a different path, and now it looks like you see those people progressing, or like they are doing so well and they are not matching up. Sometimes you cannot even go among them. You don't even know whether you made the right decision or not. So I see some of my guys back then, and they used to flaunt things. Like, they used to flaunt it, like make it look like people said they are going to church. And when it happened, so at some point I felt devastated, like, are you sure you made the right decision? Are you sure this path you have chosen, you can continue? So on so many occasions, yes, it affected my self-confidence. And there was this time in my life where I had to financially discipline myself. So it means cutting off buying a lot of outfits, like buying those designer wears and those things I used to buy. And this was something we used to do back then. But see my friends, they were still doing it. And you see me wearing the fools. And I cannot even post pictures on the ground to make it look like I'm also living the flashy lights. And those times, that was the things we used to label as, Charlie, you are improving, you are making well, you are doing well. And when I see a lot of them doing those things, like, guy, it affected me.
What changed inside you because of this experience?
Coming in.
What changed inside you because of this experience? Like, what changed inside you?
One thing that really helped me was we had a spiritual father, and we have a father figure that was really helping us and still helping us. That's Reverend Collins in Akamafio. So back then, one thing that helped us was the consistent hearing of the word. He didn't give us money to change us. He gave us wisdom. And one thing you can give man to be, you can help them with, is by giving them wisdom. And I remember vividly, that taking that decision, I've never regretted. Even though I saw things that could sway me away, but when the man started teaching us, at some point you have to come up with this meeting that we are going to record the cave meeting every Saturday, and every Saturday you have to sit down, listen to the word. Every Saturday there was a special Saturday routine that you have to come, and one way or the other it was affecting my inner man. It was affecting how I see things. It was affecting, and it was not just about, it was not teaching us about spiritual things, but it was teaching us about self-development and everything. Finding myself as a photographer today was not because I went to any photography school or somebody, like how people would label it, like I went to training. It was because this man saw something within us and consistently hit the hammer on the head. And it was like we were growing, but we're not growing. Like you are doing something, but you feel you are not at where you want you to be. So every day in, day out, it was consistently hitting it. And today I look back and I'm always like, that's the best decision I ever made. And not just even about the word, but there was a routine of consistent prayers where he impacted in us spiritually and physically. So I think that's what I can say about it.
About yourself, what did this situation teach you? What is that thing that this situation taught you? Let's say with yourself, looking at what you've been through. What's the one thing that stands out that let's say you learned that you didn't know back then?
I'll just say that, you know, as human beings, I've always said this, and I will say it that you are not you will not be you are not forced to be a Christian. You know, in our days, like Christians have been labeled like people who go to church on Sundays. But then giving my life to Christ is one of the best decisions I've ever made. And to anybody looking at this video, God is not a scammer. Or God is not somebody who wants your money. No. Because I don't know how much I have to give God. I'll just say that the best decision I've ever, or what this thing has really taught me, is at very early age, give your life to Christ. Just like King Solomon said, remember your creator in the days of thy youth. I wouldn't have imagined my life now if I was still in the world. I believe I'll be a gang leader. Because in a space of few months, mind you, I didn't go through what I went through years, months. I went through that space within the age of 16, 17. And I gave my life to Christ around 17, halfway to I think 18, before I turned into those 18. So mind you, I didn't go through it a long period. It was just within a period. And mind you, the enemy has a lot to do with your life in the space of 1 month that you have no idea about. So if you are a young guy, a young person out there that you think you have time enough, of course you have time. But mind you, time is not on your side. The tragedy and life will hit you hard and you don't know which part to turn. It's not as if we believers don't go through things or we don't go through difficulties. Even mind you, in the Bible, it said that tribulations, temptations will really come. But then it should tell you that as believers, when we get to these patterns, we turn to God. When God was taking the Israelites out of Egypt, they faced a lot of encounters. When they got to the Red Sea, it was a big distraction for them. And they could have said God has lied to them. But he had a way through the sea that they didn't know. When life hits us hard, what we do is that we turn unto God. But then, the decision to give your life to Christ at early age is one of the best decisions as a young person or as any person you can ever make. Even though maybe you have gone far, it's not too late. He can take your life and turn it in a split second, just like the enemy can waste your life within a month. He can also turn your life within a split second.
So how has this experience shaped the entire who you are now?
You know, sometimes we thought and we think that being like having everything in life would grant people to give you the respect that you need. But today we are not where we want to be. We are now getting there. But at least it has really shaped us in a way that people give us some level of respect. Like we know how to associate with people, we know how to speak to people, and we know how to like handle people. It has shaped us to be a leader, not just like by ordering people around, but by being people's leader in a phase where people can account their life to, and we also account to other people. So in this way, it has really helped us to. It has really helped me to account my life to somebody that I know that at the long run, this is what like it has really brought people in our circle, people we can call on, like, and they hear us like okay, I want to do this, and they listen to you. And you know those times I always ask this question like, imagine I was doing those things I was doing in the world, who would really invest in me? Because I have this thing I say, nobody would want to invest into a rotten tomato. They also want to invest into the fresh ones because they know when they send it to the market, it brings interest. So one thing this thing has following Jesus has really shaped us is that it has really shaped us to follow clearly, not blindly. Because you can still be a believer and follow blindly. That's it.
What keeps you going now?
Ah, what keeps me going? What keeps me going is because I saw Jesus save me back then, and I know He can still do it. So I don't need a lot.
So when you look back, what do you feel most strongly?
I feel grateful because, like I said earlier, I wouldn't have known what my life would have been like if I was in the world. But seeing a man save me and delivered me, not taking me anything, just to account my life unto Him, I feel so much grateful because I've seen some of my colleagues. I have seen some of my colleagues. Not to shade anybody, but looking at how things are going, I believe, excuse me, I believe I was still there. Maybe it would have been on the same level. But some of my people still sometimes reach out to me. Charlie, I want to do this. I feel difficult, but and I imagine like, how do you reach out to me? Me. Like I ask myself what, you know, but it is how God has really destined things to be like. Looking at me and you sitting down today, we were young guys growing up back then, and we actually didn't see ourselves to be teammates. Somebody we could have called on. I later found out you were in photography. I also later found out I was in photography. But somehow, like life crossed path, and today we are doing this together. It is something I'm really grateful for, not because maybe I have something special, but because I specifically don't know what you saw. You saw like, Charlie, let's do this. But I've been sitting myself down like ever since you reached out, like, what these guys see? Well, but then in all, it is you being grateful for the things you cannot pay for, but yet you are getting them on a free basis. Yeah.
So if someone is going through something similar right now, what will you tell them?
One of the best people that can easily make your life really short is the people who have been through it before. So personally, I would say that when I see people going through, and I've met a couple of young guys going through the same thing, and sometimes I say, if you give yourself a chance, it's mostly like you are going to end up in that den. So most of the time, what I really tell them is, invest your life right now, your youthful age wisely, because you will not have this time forever. You don't have this time forever. Mind you, when we went to school back then in nursery or kindergarten, were teaching us SOSO. We didn't know that SOSO would be combining today to be giving us long words. We thought it was just they were wasting time. But the SOSO Jinyogo really add up to some things we can really pronounce today. So your youthful age is adding up to your your future self. Because the time will come when you look back. It's either two things. You are either going to look back with regret, or you are going to look back with gratitude. So it's either you've invest your youthful age now, like you are in school, go to school, like you are learning a skill, learn it wisely. Like you are in school, you are learn. In all these things, don't be so busy in all these things, neglecting Jesus out of the way. In all aspects of your life, let Jesus be in the boat. Mind you, Jesus was in the boat with the disciples, and a storm arose. The Bible said he was sleeping on a pillow. Quote, the man was on a pillow in a boat, sleeping. The question I always ask is that, how can you be sleeping in a boat? How can you be sleeping on a pillow in a boat? There's a like storm in the boat. I slept. But then Bible said when they woke him up, he said, "Peace be still." He just spoke a word and there was calmness in the sea. It actually tell you that you can get a certificate that you want, you can get the skills that you want, you can be as fucking loaded as you want to be. But if Jesus is not in the boat, life is incomplete. So as a young person or somebody out there, like I would advise the younger generation especially, do everything that you can, do everything you want to do, but don't take Jesus out of the boat.
What do you wish someone had told you back then?
To be honest, they told me a lot, but I didn't listen to it. I remember I met a man called Honorable CY in this same house. I came looking for a friend, and he sat me down. He asked me a question. Mind you, I'm a dropout. A lot of people don't know, and I tell people that I meet like in person. I didn't have the privilege to complete SHS. It's not a fault of my parents. They did their best, but then I had a part to play in that role. I was in school and then I was just following friends. And while I was following friends, their parents were paying their school fees, and they completed. I couldn't complete because one,